against war, we shall have to begin with the children. Gandhi. Since recorded human history, man has an insatiable appetite for violence. Nations rise and fall, and territorial borders redrawn by means of force and modern weaponry. Too much hate and myriad of innocent lives perished. Based on the historical data, and if history is to be my teacher, it seems to me that genuine and sustaining peace is beyond our reach. Nevertheless, there are small steps that the schools and our communities can do to bring us closer to better understanding one another and change the culture of violence. These changes need to occur very early in life. I believe it was St. Francis Xavier who once said, "Give me a child until he is 7, and I'll give you the man." Part of changing our way of thinking is to acculturate young children the true value of life and the importance of loving each other. If the youth is trained in the culture of love and coexistence, they will never leave those lessons when they grow old, and their generation will embrace what their predecessor rejected, the culture of forgiveness and love. I think a man forms most of their beliefs early in life, before they hit 17, and remains etched in their minds. The fight for winning the impressionable minds and hearts of the children is the war Gandhi and other reformers spoke about. This war rages on. The human species atrophied towards violence, only to be interrupted by periodic revolution. Prominent figures appeared throughout the time continuum to help bring about cultural change towards peace, love, and nonviolence. These venerable individuals included Jesus Christ, Dalai Lama, Gandhi, the Apostle Paul, Martin Luther King Jr., and Mother Teresa. They reintroduced game-changing and paradigm-shifting ways to try to pull the culture to a new way of thinking. For me, Gandhi wages a war of ideology to be won through dialogue and the generation of best ideas, to fight the prevailing culture with radical and innovative ways of thinking. His gentleness and non-violent ways to protest against the oppressors of his time was life-changing. It makes me pause and think about the contrast of his movement and what I see in Google News. For example, I see changes in Russia, Ukraine, Syria, the Middle East, Afghanistan, and in our very own backyard, Ferguson, Missouri. These regions are repeats of what I observed in history, change through violence. On the contrary, meaningful reforms come through sacrificial work and peaceful endeavors. Applying history's lessons to my present reality as an 8th grader and in the public school system, perfect peace may not be achievable. But there are small steps that can be done to make schools as a vehicle for shifting society. The following are creative steps that I think can bring about changes for a healthy future. The first is what I called the conversation space. It is a dedicated room with a table and 3 chairs. A flower adorns the middle of the table. Nature, through the use of a colorful flower, has a way of influencing the minds and attitudes of the parties involved in the meeting. When children have disputes, the offending party will sit at both ends, and a teacher may be an arbiter at a distant corner. The students will flesh out their differences and come up with their way of resolving or compromising their issues. This approach is similar to conflict resolution and will teach young men and women very early how countries come together and the United Nations to face and resolve world conflicts. The process of getting together affords the children a chance to restore their relationship and love each other. Another unique idea involves the collaboration of parents and teachers as a continuous mentoring program for the children between home and the classrooms. The third significant idea is to create dry run or pragmatic sketches of a scenario of a conflict. Then, engage the class in a conversation and reflect on how they will handle the situation and what could be a sustainable solution. Finally, I would teach systems thinking to help students understand that we are all parts of an integrated and invisible whole, that whatever we do will always affect others, and dispel the idea that if it does not hurt others and it feels good, then do it, because we are inseparably linked to our others, our family, community, country, and the planet Earth. For my generation, we can wage a war against war by consistently and persistently pointing at the anomalies and failures in the old paradigm. To keep speaking and acting against the failure of the old system and contrasting it with a new one. To insert people with a new paradigm in places of public visibility and power, as well as to be proactive and not to waste time with reactive responses. To collaborate with other open-minded change agents and to stand on the shoulders of other recent history's giants. For example, groundbreaking work of Gandhi's nonviolent movement against the British Empire and the caste system can be magnified and extended in my generation. The most recent example is Malala's open war against the oppressive Taliban forces in Pakistan as a call to arms for young people like me. We can learn from Martin Luther King Jr.'s nonviolent struggles against a culture of iniquities and inequalities. These movements are prime examples of peaceful, non-arrogant, and non-revengeful ways of waging wars against failed systems. In conclusion, I would encourage my peers that when we see injustice, we should be brave in speaking out and keep pointing at the prevailing error, even if our actions are counterintuitive to the culture. Above all, we should conduct these nonviolent war on war in a loving and compassionate manner. Thank you.